All right, so what I did is wrote down things as the class was happening. So the
Okay.
first period, you were already prepared to get started with the warm-up activity, and you kept sending, you got the hint, you got the pace of these classes. You keep sending the link in the chat, because you know, as they log in, they join the Nearpod, and with the connection, it takes time. So you did that very well. You had that part already assumed in you. So then you went over the answers of the warm-up activity. You acknowledge them, which is good. For the Kahoot, you did something very good that wasn't in the, I didn't see that in your lesson plan. However, I thought it was really good. You mentioned the cognates. It's a term that we will use throughout all the courses. And it is important that they understand that that is a thing. There are words that look similar, sound similar, they mean the same thing, and they're called cognates. And then I will build on that later on the year and talk about the false cognates. Okay, but that was a good thing that you did on the spot. The suggestion would be for the following class, focus on the terms that are non-cognates, because if you notice that you picked on that on the Kahoot, they knew right away the cognates, but they had more trouble with the ones that were not cognates. Reason, they didn't study the terms. So for the next lesson, it would have been advisable to focus on those terms. We're still on the lesson, so I'll make sure that we hit those terms in particular. But that was just a suggestion. The one thing that I did notice in here, you didn't spend enough time on the language structures.
Okay.
Did it really, really quickly, and then skipped the guided practice and expected them to write the answers to those questions in the chat right away.
Yeah, that's exactly that is something I did pick up on, and that's something that we that you addressed to me before we moved on to the period 3 and the period 4. So that was nice that you caught that. Exactly.
So remember, I said this is what I'm writing as we are on the lesson. So this is as I type it on the go.
Okay.
So and I send you an email after that, and you tweaked it, you fixed it for the following periods. So in period 3, so everything is the same thing. A suggestion, remove the timer from the warm-up, because the warm-up is intended for the beginning of the class, and we don't know really how long that's going to take, because we're using that warm-up while the students are logging in. So we don't know if they're going to log in 3 minutes or in 8 minutes. So it's hard to have a timed activity when you don't have all the students there. The purpose of the warm-up is just that. Or maybe you need a different activity and then the warm-up. Okay. So, but just remove the timer.
Yeah.
For the next time. And the same thing, focus on the cognates, because that's what that's where the problems were. And here the class was over very quickly, and we didn't have time to do the language structure. Okay. Period 4, again, remove the timer. Everything else was perfectly well done. And here you spent a few more minutes reading the questions, and you spent about 15 minutes on the guided practice, which is good. Even if we didn't get to the you do part, to the individual practice part, that's fine. We can always do it the following day, which we did.
Siempre hay una mañana. There's always a tomorrow.
Exactly. There's no need to rush. It's better to do this because, as you notice, the second day, you just have to review quickly. Many of them, I wouldn't say all of them, not even the majority of them, but many
Yeah.
of them already knew how to do it. So this is a step, the guided practice, and as you teach more, Miguel, you will see that how important this part is. And sometimes you tend to think, oh, well, they're high schoolers, they know this, they're high schoolers, they don't. So, but it's easy, even for the experienced teachers. Even I catch myself sometimes thinking, no, I rushed, I should have done this, I should have spent more time on this part. So, but this is good that you're seeing this at this point, okay? So you spend more time in the guided practice, which was very good. Now, the following day, we didn't have the first period. There was no internet. And what do we do in here? So you model the vocabulary and the questions. Then you put the language structures and students participate. So you spend more time here on the guided practice and you got more students to participate. Then this is when you had the actual activity, the individual practice, where the students began to say, it's too small, and you just type the letters in bigger font. So that was a good adjustment. Oh, the one thing that I want to say that I didn't mention before, and I think it's important in your favor, the decision that you make here on the first period. So you saw that they were doing well in the Kahoot.
Yeah,
And you said,
I did, and then as I was about to make that decision, then they made a mistake on the like the 10th question. So I thought I got thrown off by it. I didn't,
so, but you did something really good, which is that is what's called a formative assessment on the Gala. So you, without knowing it, without having planned it, you realize something there and you adjust it to make sure that they got it. Because you were thinking, okay, we have a Kahoot with 15 questions. We are on the 9th. We're doing good. Everybody knows this. Then you hit the 10th question and nobody knows it. And you're thinking, uh-oh, I'm not going to stop the Kahoot. We're going to continue, guys. And you realize that and you continue. That was a decision that you made very, very well done. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I told you that.
Yeah.
The more you teach, the more of those decisions you will have to make. Either to skip something because it's too easy, or to slow down because something that you thought it was easy, this particular group is not getting. So, those decisions on the spot, they are important. And that also is a sign that you are not, how can I say this nicely? That you're not tied. I can think of the term, not even in Spanish. But that your lesson plan is a guide, is not mandating you a specific order. You have the autonomy to alter your own lesson plan based on decisions, based on situations that happen in the class. And that is something good. You need to have that. You need to have that confidence. You were able to do that because you knew what you were doing. So that is something important, something worth noting, something that an administrator would have picked on. Okay. So, and on the following day, so that's it. That's basically the first part, because in one class you go to the this, yeah. Okay, so this is where after you were modeling the sentences, you were able to challenge them a little bit more. And eventually you took a little bit of help away. You released a little bit of the teaching. That's another strategy that's called the release method. So where you are gradually releasing the control of the activity. So you first have it all, just copy the sentence, then you move one word, then you move. So that's what you were doing there. So I don't know if you were aware of that. I don't know if you realized it or not, but you did that as well. Okay, so in general, Miguel, there was I mean, it was like having you, how can I say it? Having you in these lessons was like if you were not a new teacher, you know what you were doing. Okay, so I've seen a huge improvement from the last lessons to these ones. And a good thing, I think it was the fact that there were so many consecutive days, because this week you did 4. So what I was thinking, it would have been a better idea. And I think for myself, if I do this mentoring again, I would suggest to have, even instead of having 3, 3, and 3 classes every week, having 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Have the classes every day, even if it's less hours, but have them every day of the week.
Yeah.
At least every day that the students meet. So
Yeah.
I think that's what gave you, because on Thursday, yesterday, you were just like on the roll. You were like, just like, you had it, you got it.
Yeah, because I was in the rhythm. I remember telling you, if I wait till Monday to do that last one, then I'm gonna be off rhythm. I'm not gonna be in the rhythm.
So as a self-reflection, I think that was something that we could have set up differently. I didn't
Okay.
anticipate this. Obviously, you didn't anticipate it either.
No.
But I think it would have been more beneficial if you had done 2 hours every day, 5 days a week, instead of having 3 days a week.
Yeah.
It would have
Yeah.
been better. But anyways, we know this now after the fact, so there's nothing we can do about it now. But I've seen an improvement. So what are your thoughts? What are your comments?
No, my comments are that I did prepare. I recorded myself on Zoom giving the lessons beforehand.
You did?
I did. I really took that feedback that I got from the last couple of lessons that I did teach. I knew that I had to improve. So I knew off the bat I had to prepare much more than I was preparing before. So I just went into the Nearpod and prepared and acted like the students were giving me feedback and acted like you were giving me feedback and all of those things. And I think it's just preparation. I also prepared a little bit with the vocab and with with, for example, like I already knew what a cognate was, and I knew some of the grammatical structures that I had to relearn again. So it was putting those practices into play. And I think the best way to teach is to be prepared, because if you're not prepared, it's going to show. It's going to show, and then not only that, but it's going to show, if it's going to show even more if, say, an administrator was to walk into your room when in a brick and mortar classroom, find out that you're not prepared, and then that can be an issue.
Yeah.
So I'm now, I was now in that scenario, preparing myself mentally for, okay, this is going to be the real thing pretty soon in my life, and I need to start preparing and acting like this is a very, very important thing for me.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you drew that conclusion. That's truly important. So I don't have anything else. I was I'm beginning to write up the summary down here, but
Okay,
I'm not finished yet. So I will do that, but it's going to be basically a summary of the, here, my cat is here. The summary
okay.
of, you've just seen here. And that's it.
Okay, so it's entirely up to you, but do you want to log off of this Zoom and then
Yes.
log back in to go over a little bit for the evaluation? Would you like to
Yes.
do that? It's entirely up to you.
Yes, I do want to do that.
Okay, okay, so
I'm going to
So-
stop this meeting.
okay,
Okay.
okay.